Well, I want to say hello to everybody and thank you, Efren, for taking the time to do this interview with me and looking at my show, Vessel. The first painting that announced this theme was this one over here, which I do call Vessel. And in it, I started off doing some of the things that I have customarily done in terms of strokes and all, but I knew I was going someplace different. I knew that I wanted something new to come forward in my work, and it started with sort of planes of color, and then I realized that I had something of a vessel here, and I really find that an important image right now on a lot of levels. And so I used it and put in some objects that I didn't really understand, but I thought I would because I could tell they were going to come up again. So shortly thereafter I did this one, which similarly has a vessel suggested like this, with the wide brush stroke that I have used a lot and really do enjoy. And some of the repeats on these what are becoming motifs now, even though I don't really have an explanation for them. So I knew I was on to a new series and going to a new place with some of the way I was using the paint and experimenting. But it took a few more paintings for that to really establish itself, and I still am in the middle of it. This show is not the completion of this body of work. It's what I have at this time. So it's kind of like stage one. Mm-hmm. But I want to just take you over here and just show you a little bit about how this began evolving. First of all, I could just segue into this column of works on paper. Most of my pieces were intended to be on canvas and are, but I was also doing some small pieces on paper as I worked on the canvases. They were a relief. They were just a way to experiment with the paint that I had out, the brushes I had out, and just do something spontaneously and see what that showed me. And I knew that some of them would turn into paintings. One has here, but I wouldn't be surprised if some of these will turn into larger paintings at some point. I could say something about these small canvases. There are 9 of them, and they actually all congregate into one painting. And the painting that they congregate into is over here, which I can show you, and it's called Vessel Compendium. And Vessel Compendium, I didn't really intend it to be in the show originally, but here it is. Just like its name suggests, I wanted to, I had things going on in my mind, and how would I remember to go back to them? And so I wanted one canvas that would have all the things on it. There's that shape again, and this shape, which is a new shape, which I really enjoy. I don't have good words for what these shapes are. The vessel, of course. But that's my compendium, and then I made it a grid and painted each segment of the grid in these small canvases, which you can see throughout the show. So that's, I had thought that I might hang all those small canvases together and kind of show the exploded version, but we in the end wanted to go with the colors and kind of get the colors talking to each other. So in this painting, I'm continuing the exploration of what is a vessel. And I've got here kind of what I consider an organic shape as vessel. I'm thinking of all the ways in which a vessel can be physical, but maybe also emotional or energetic or spiritual or cosmic. And so I'm starting to vary my notion of what's a vessel. And still playing with planes of color, still with this characteristic wide brush stroke, but looking at that just being a component rather than a major feature of the paintings. And this shape again, which I will continue to use. Not really sure why, but I like it. And the color, the quinacridone magenta, which is tricky to use, but I enjoy using it. So I could show you this painting here, which I call Pouring. I think that's fairly obvious. And again, this is me moving into this new place that I still don't really know, where am I going here? But I want more depth, more layers, more meaning for the viewer to get into if they wish to, to the extent that they wish to. But also it's just the fun, I guess, for lack of a better word, the engagement with the paint at the time. So, again, the idea of a different kind of vessel, a little bit organic, and the kinds of things that might happen. But there's no real narrative. There's no real meaning other than what the individual might choose to see in them and whatever I might have been transported with at the time.
So, why vessel?
Well, I think I've been reading about vessel in a kind of very abstract sort of way, and that has had a lot of meaning for me. So it can be very concrete, or it can be kind of ephemeral. And if we look at this painting here, the vessel is really just suggested. It is ephemeral. It does contain something, but it sort of is dissolving in and out. There's an energy component. So for me, it's a passageway, sort of, into further painting. But that doesn't have to hold any water for anybody else. They can, take it wherever they want. But it's the vehicle that allows me to continue. And I have 2 more canvases in my studio that I'm, halfway through and tend to. I hoped would be here for the show, but so it's still a process that's happening for me, and I'm looking forward to getting back to the studio once the show is finished and continuing what this is all about.